As long as you tell the whole world that I'm the one who made that bomb ass
Right,
intro.
for sure. All right, welcome to the Zealous Soul, man. My name is Mike Ohm, and I have our third episode here is a guy that I haven't really known for very long, but he's been making waves in the Kansas City flow community. Good friend Antry, who was on episode 1, he was the one that kind of introduced us, and ever since I've known this guy, he's just been a solid level dude. He works at Milo Farms. We'll talk about that. He's an incredible flow artist and just a really interesting guy. So everybody welcome Caleb Chrisman.
Hey guys, welcome. Thanks, Mike, for that honestly honoring intro. I appreciate your reflection, and it's an honor just to be here and to really just be one, recognized for flow, love it, it's my passion, but two, also just recognizing like my heart for community and this Kansas City community, what we're actually all co-creating.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm super excited that you're here. We actually got a chance to talk a little bit at the festival last year, and you were kind of expressing concerns about wanting to get further into the flow scene and everything, and I kind of gave you my reflections on it, and it sounded like you reflected on that, and I'm excited to see how your journey started and where you're going next. So, I guess let's kick it off. Like, where are you from? What brings you here? Are you from Kansas City, or what's your story, brother?
Yeah, okay. Well, I have kind of a very interesting story, as all humanity does, I like to say. But I grew up on a small farm, around 60 acres, just outside of Blue Springs, Missouri, and was really honored and blessed. My parents were pastors. I come from a large family. My sister is a missionary in Russia. My other sister, they pastor a church, and I have around 3 older sisters and a brother, and then me. So I'm the baby of 5.
Oh wow!
Yeah, man.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, we have a large family, and I spent my whole childhood just working on the farm and jumping on hay bales, and was really blessed. Right. At some point in time, I grew up in my teenage years, and I realized I didn't have any money, and I realized our family was actually poor. So my parents lived their whole life dedicated to service to others. And so realizing that growing up, I made a lot of friends, and unfortunately, because it's all the web of weird and it's meant to be, just turned into a little pirate and started turning into a little hellion, and really started... I think pursuing truth in the wrong places is the best way to describe it. And I was a follower thinking I was a leader.
Right.
And that led me at the age of 22 getting in trouble for aggravated robbery. And I did 7 years.
Damn.
And so that journey was the beginning and the ending of a certain Caleb, right? And I took those 7 years, and I was like, okay, I'm here to look in the mirror.
Right. And
it was a journey, and I'm really grateful for the whole experience. And then when I got out, a friend of mine, he had a whole, my whole family greeted me. I was really blessed. I used to tell my friends in the joint, I would say, man, I grew up with a gold spoon in my mouth, and I never knew.
Yeah.
Shit. All I could think of is that we didn't have anything and we didn't have money. But the truth is we had a good family, and we had a lot of good Christian people in churches coming to my parents' farm at all times. Yeah. And it was really beautiful. And then, of course, hindsight 2020, you're an adult, you're really taking ownership for your life and the actions. And then that was brought me on my last, going on 4-year plus journey, being back home in Kansas City, and really just trying to, 1, take radical ownership of my own life, and 2, change my life through my own choices of integrity day by day. Yeah. And so that kind of led me into a fun spiral journey where I got out of Kansas City, I got out of prison, I came home, and started, experiencing the spiritual communities and the hippie communities, and finding people that were really trying to live life outside of just the subsurface American dream. And I think when I went to prison, the best way to describe my story is a poem I wrote on toilet paper, and it goes, I'm in my cell talking to my inner demons about dreams and a future I may never have again. Yet I take heart, for I'm no longer society's mannequin, yet rather a free spirit longing to live and love life again.
Wow.
For yesterday's history, tomorrow mystery. At least today my mind is free once again.
Right. Dude,
so not to just dump a large story on you all at once.
No, but, that's beautiful.
Yeah, man. And then, yeah, please do what you say.
No, that's amazing. it kind of reminds me of my journey, and I actually dodged a bullet in going to prison, you know, because I I was raised in a single. My mom was single. I was adopted, and she was a Christian Scientist, and to her everything was bad. You know, drugs were bad, sex was bad, alcohol was bad, everything was bad. And so when I got out of the house at 18, I just did everything. I mean, I was doing stuff that I really shouldn't be doing. I was running things from different places to other places, and some of my friends got caught and popped, and they did a lot of time, you know, almost 10 years, and I didn't. And it wasn't until later on that I look back, like you said, that reflection, and being like, holy fuck, dude.
Damn, I did that.
Yeah, right. I dodged that. I mean, that's kind of where my Pirate Mike nickname came from, which I don't really go by anymore, you know, because like that was the old me. Now Mike Ohm is where I'm at, you know, because I'm like, I want to create something better than what I did. And I want to teach these kids, you know, like, hey, you think you don't have it. You think you know what you're doing, but I promise you, your brain's not developed, man. Like, you got to fucking wait. Like,
yeah, man,
but
the follower thinking they're a leader.
Right.
Know?
But I get it. You know, I get wanting to do something different and that go the wrong way.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you for sharing that part of your story, man.
So do you think the religion aspect of it was a big part of that, you know, where you were like
that safety of home, maybe?
Yeah, and be like, fuck this, I'm going to go do my own thing, like, oh, you know.
I mean, yeah, sure, I can look at that element. I think that there's that element of like, one, all my brothers and sisters, they originally fit the mold. Like, all my sisters married good Christian men. My brother went to college. He was the first one in our family to go to college, and I was the first one to go to prison. Oh, right. You know, so, but it's funny though, because I think looking back, I think that it's that energy of like, if I can't be good enough, maybe I can be bad enough.
Right.
And I think that maybe that's an element of religion, but at the same time, I think that's what religion brought into my life, but I don't believe that's what like my parents' belief in Christ brought in my life. Yeah. I think their belief and following of that really brought a truth that has like helped me in my life to really hold grace for not only myself, but others. But that sense of service. So that is, yes. The other part of religion and that dogma of like conception of what it means to be holy, that to me is personally hierarchy, and it's a way of keeping humanity separate. Yeah,
that's what drove me away from the church, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I remember 9 years old, I asked I don't think they were called a pastor, because Christian Science is a little bit different than other sects of Christianity, but I asked them questions and they just couldn't answer them. And I was like, told my mom, I was like, I'm not going back to Sunday school. Like, this is kind of silly. You know, like, you got to have faith. Come on, man. Like, I understand that. I get that at this point in my life. But at the same time, like, I'm like, I want to need some more answers than these, you know? And if you can't tell me as a grown adult, then I'm just going to find my own path. And then I spent like 15 years studying religions, like with different people, different sects of Christianity and Hinduism and Buddhism and just all the different kinds that I could. I was a sponge. I wanted to learn, you know? And so I kind of landed on Taoism. That's kind of where I sit.
Yeah, man, I'm with you here.
Yeah,
yes.
You know, nothingness.
The Tao does nothing and leaves nothing undone.
Exactly. Yeah. Boom. That's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah, I love that, man. I would say I'm actually pretty close to the same. I mean, I don't really have a term, because even like the Taoist is like, it's like naming the unnameable. Right. Once you name it, it's no longer the unnameable. Exactly. So I think for me, it's like just accepting that all of this is God in my mind, 100%. You know, like everything. And that's kind of like the best way to like, you know, cap it off in my brain.
Yeah, 100%. That's how I look at it too. Like, I'm God, you're God, she's God, he's God. You know, we're all creators, you know, and what happens before and after death is really none of our business. We don't know. We don't get to know. Exactly. That's not our point. Our point here is not to know what happens after or before. Exactly. Our point here is just to be here now, right?
Be here now. Yeah, man.
Exactly. Hell yeah.
I love that.
Hell yeah. Right on.
See, as we're getting to know each other, man, we're resonating. We're already on the same page.
Right. It's awesome. Yeah. So, I guess, the podcast is called The Zealous Soul, right? So that's like being a zealous person is someone who is a seeker. You know, you're not one that's just like, I'm just going to do what everybody else does. I'm going to go clock in at a factory 9 to 5, work 30 years, retire, and just maybe spend a few years of my life before I die doing something that I enjoy, you know? What is it that you
desire to bring with flow.
desire to bring. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like what does flow bring for you?
Yeah. Well, there's two beautiful questions here, so I'll touch them both. So the flow for me is a kind of conceptually like flow is life. So when I found flow, as in the concept of flow arts, it came to me as a little orb star and a little couple like little fidget toys, and it was a fun joke. But then I jumped on Amazon and I just accidentally bought a set of poi and didn't mean to.
How long ago was this?
Like 3.5 years ago.
Nice.
About
Okay.
3.5. Yeah, around that time.
Nice.
And then I just fell in love. And then a buddy of mine, Logan, he came back from Colorado and he was like big into the flow arts, and he just showed me poi. And then I, boom, was hooked in, like I was hooked and sunk. And then my cousin, Joel Chrisman, he is a, really well-known burner in the community. He's been in the community for like 14, 16 years in the burner community. Joel. Yeah. And he always breathed fire. And he was the one who was always trying to tell me, hey, man, stop hanging out with them hooligans and doing that dumb shit and come hang out with me and all my hippies.
Right.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get there. And then, boom, I messed up.
Right.
But in all full circle, I ran into my cousin Joel at a drum tribe after like 8 years later, and we reconnected, and then he invited me out, and then I just, boom, and found myself amongst a collection of just beautiful artists, wizards. I mean, people who just genuinely love unconditionally. There's no dogma, but rather a condition of safety. Yeah. And I really appreciated that. And so that was just like a whole new world I fell into. And then, of course, I'm like a little spectrum kid with ADHD who loves playing with fidget toys. So boom, flow props, man. And then that went from poi to staff, devil stick, sword, double staves, and I just bought a new pair of fans.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, man.
Multidisciplinary.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
I was a poi spinner for over 10 years. I didn't pick up anything else. I was just so obsessed with poi until Laura and I got together, and she's like, if you want to get hired for more and you want to make more money, you need to learn more props. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then it became my obsession was rope dar, and then it became my obsession with staff, and then it became my obsession was contact staff, and now it's like in my life, I'm to the point now where I've been doing this professionally for so long that I don't even really spin fire that often anymore, which is kind of sad. I still do a lot of flow, because flow is life, like you said, but yeah, I need to do it more, honestly.
Yeah, man. I think it's, yeah. I mean, you get to do it more, right? Yeah. You get to do whatever that heart desires.
I do, yeah. But like it went from just being a passion to being a job, kind of like my leather crafting. I was like, got super obsessed with leather crafting. I was like, this is so awesome. And then I was like, I want to buy a whole bunch of leather. I'm going to make a whole bunch of product. And I'm going to sell it at the festivals. And it's sitting in my craft room, just rolled up, and I didn't do shit with it. So, I don't know what it is about me, man. I get these things and I'm like, cool, I'm going to do this. And then I'm like, oh, it's just another job.
Sounds like an artist. You just sound like an artist to me, bro. You have a passion, you have a skill. Right. You go to enact it, and then you're like, well, crap. I might as well try to make some money and survive off this. But then you're like, but I don't care for the 9-to-5 corporate shit, so I'm not going to try to monetize. But then at the same time, it's finding that balance, you know, and just create the art that you want and then share it with those who are willing to reciprocate.
Yeah. Like we were talking outside about working 9-to-5s and how many factory jobs I've had and different repair jobs I've had. I mean, I'm certified in fucking damn near everything you can think of. Any kind of machine you can think of, I'm certified to operate it and work on it. And every job that I've had was like 2 to 3 years, and then I'd have to move to another job 2 to 3 years. Well, ReKinection, I've been with them, with her for 4 years now. This is the longest I've really ever been at a job. Yeah. But I don't consider it a job, even though it's long hours and everything, but it's still more of a community service to me. You know? Like
it's like a bigger passion, a bigger dream, kind of like
it's helping people.
Yeah.
And people tell us all the time. They're like, dude, thank you so much. I'm like, I'm just doing what I love, man. Like, you're welcome, Yeah,
my first ReKinection was actually my first festival. Right. And actually it was magical. I showed up on the last day of a Saturday. Someone gave me a free ticket at the last moment. They're like, hey, I got a ticket, I can't go. You need to go to this. And I'm like, all right, showed up. Yeah, ReKinection, and being in the community for the last 3 years, it has like been beautiful to have like real containers where people can come and gather and really I feel like ReKinection has been a big piece to that, and I really appreciate that too. So I confirm all those other people, man.
Absolutely, dude. So I guess we'll move on from flow. So we've
alternative lifestyle.
Right, the alternative lifestyle.
Alternative lifestyle.
So we recently got out to the place where you're at, Milo Farms, which is just outside of Kansas City. And you got a really special thing going on out there. You got a lot of property. You got goats, you got donkeys that have special skills I've never seen. And that didn't sound right. That didn't sound
They go
right.
that way. No. They just have a very good skill of eating everything around.
Eating everything, yeah. But yeah, tell us how you got involved in Milo, because Milo is a really cool thing, and I think it's going to be like a big thing that's going to happen in the community here in the next couple of years. Like it's an upcoming thing that's going to happen. So
yeah, man, love that.
Yeah.
Well, first, kind of a little back to my story. I found Flow, found the burner community, and really just opened a lot of doors. And then one day, someone invited me out to a little fish fry, and I was like, I don't know. Fish fry sounds like conservatives hanging out on a farm. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I just had this preconceived judgment, or I don't know. And then, but I was like, all right, I'll go. And as soon as I pulled up, I see Lonnie, and Lonnie's the owner and steward of Milo Farm. And Lonnie Bernard, and she's a beautiful soul and a dear friend. Really great, just grateful to her. But as soon as I pulled onto the farm, she's just walking, and it looks like a flower child, man, just long hippie hair, little tassels, and she's like, "Welcome," and just gave me a big hug, and I was just like, "Wow, man, these are my people." And then, boom. So Milo Farm, when I found that place, I made a bunch of beautiful connections and friendships my first day there. It was a place for me over the last 3 years as it's been growing. And then as I moved on to the land about 1.5 years ago, it's been a place where I've genuinely curated deep healing for myself personally. I started through share circles and, breath work, and we do lots of things out there. But essentially what Milo does is it stands for Mindful Intentional Living Oneness. And it's a 54-acre property.
I had no idea that's what
that
man.
stood
for. I thought it was just like
Milo, it's like a dog or something.
Right, the name of somebody's dog.
That's what I thought when I first got there.
Say that again, Mindful
Intentional Living Oneness.
Dude, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, man.
I like it even more now.
Yeah, right?
Okay, all right, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're great, brother. Yeah. So yeah, I got involved in the community, started showing up to the different community events and celebrations and the work days, and then just made lots of good friends. And then through telling my life story and then on my healing journey, Lonnie just really was like, hey, I really respect you, and I just really want to invite you to come move out to the farm and join the board of directors for our nonprofit. So we have two sides. There's the LLC where we do hip camp, and we do camping, retreats. People book the event space and different places like that for weddings, birthdays, all the things.
Right.
And then on the other side, we have the nonprofit. And the nonprofit essentially is our community garden. We have a greenhouse that we just built. We have around 5 to 6 lodgings on the property, between like little Vardos and little like a Vardo is essentially like a little wagon that you can pull behind your car.
Yeah.
And a good friend in the community, Irish Mike, he builds these and then rents them out. So essentially that's the kind of separation. But then the community garden part also goes into our community events, where it literally has come. And then we do every third Sunday I help host a share circle, and so people can come and just be witnessed and be heard, and no dogma, no fixing you, no this is the thing that you need to do. No, it's just come and be you and be safe, and be safe to know that you are in a safe space to be you. And that's kind of like the intention, or the kind of the environment we were trying to co-create out there.
That's amazing. That's really important for people to be themselves, because like we go through life and people judge us everywhere we go. I mean, shit, I got an eyeball tattooed on the back of my head like 13 years ago. And I remember the very first day that I got it, I went to go to Walmart, and my life changed forever that day. Like everybody just stopped and stared like all the time, just like. But I did that for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
We can go into that
Oh, man.
later.
We can go to anything.
Go to it right now? You want to know why?
Yeah, I want to know, bro. Tell me that.
Okay,
Tell me that.
so whenever I was going through my spiritual learning, right, learning about different paths, why people believe what they believe, very interested in that, because why do we fucking believe what we believe?
Right.
It's a big question. A lot of people don't question it. So I started dabbling into learning about shamanism and what that realm is. And I don't claim to be a shaman, because I've met a lot of white people like myself
Yeah,
that
yeah.
say, "Oh, bro, I studied shamanism. Now I'm a shaman." I'm like, no, I'm not a fucking shaman.
Right.
But
You are a
they're
mystic, though, seeker of truth.
right. And thank you. But what that does, the eye specifically shakes you up to where you're thinking something different than what you were thinking before, whether that's disgust, whether it's curiosity, whether it's anything else, because most people are just kind of walking along, just humdrum in their head, thinking whatever thoughts like they're getting for dinner, and they're like then they see this dude with this giant fucking eye on his head with like sacred geometry, and they're like, whoa, either what is that? Why did that guy do that? And then they're gonna take that home. They're gonna sit at the dinner table and be like, did you see that? Like, what? Why would possess anybody to do that? Even if it's a negative thing, even if they're like, well, he can't get a job, or,
Right.
well, whatever, bro. I can get a job anywhere. I get people asking me daily, almost, hey, I'll pay you $200,000 a year to fix our equipment. I'm like, cool, thanks. Tattoo didn't stop me from getting a job, but that's what it is, and it also helps my kids find me in a big crowd.
Hey, there's that eyeball.
Right, there's Mike. Oh, see him up there, about 300 feet in front of us. Can't miss that motherfucker.
Yeah. Love that, man. It sounds like it's just one of those many spiritual, like, potent parts in like one story where they're like, there's either a tattoo or an experience. For me, it was that going to prison, or for me, we all have different cathartic truths where we're trying to really have that emotional, spiritual breakthrough to finding our best next self of ourselves. Yeah, man, I respect that.
Hell yeah. So we were talking about the share circle. Whenever I started
on Milo Farms.
I shared my thing with you.
Well, thank you for your share, brother.
But yeah, so I was just saying that's important for people to be who they want to be, because a lot of people feel unseen,
Exactly.
and that's a beautiful thing y'all are doing.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
It sounds like we're going to be trying to figure some stuff out there. Kind of really excited about it, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Find a place close to Kansas City, because we drive so far. Astro Valley is amazing. We love the venue, but it's 4.5 hours away. So we got to pack all of our shit into there and get all the way across. So hopefully soon. I can't release anything or details, but we're talking. We're in the works.
I want to just big shout out to my brother Antry out here. Me and him had a lot of good, hard conversations to bring this beautiful conversation about. And I really appreciate Mike, you appreciating me and, asking me to come and talk. And also a big shout out to Lonnie. Love her, beautiful soul. And she really is opening the doors and I guess I just throw this little piece in. I really appreciate how she opens the doors and allows other people to bring their piece to the table. That's a beautiful intention.
Hell yeah. You keep telling me about Lonnie, and I have yet to meet Lonnie.
Yeah, I know, right?
She's in, Ireland or something right now? Or
she was in Ireland.
Okay.
She's now currently in Denver, about to come back.
She just travels
today.
everywhere.
Yeah, right. This season, she's been a traveling little monster.
Awesome.
But that's good, though. She just bought a little cottage out in Ireland. And so she's going to start a little community garden out there. And she really has a big heart for Ireland. She loves it, which is beautiful because I'm Irish. And, it's very fun to be like, oh, well, heck yeah, let's do it. Let's go build a garden in Ireland.
Yeah, I'm German-Irish, too.
Yeah.
If you guys need any help building a garden, if I got time.
Facts, man.
Go kiss the fucking Blarney Stone? Or is that Scotland? I don't know.
No, that's Blarney. Yeah,
is it?
Yeah, that's the Blarney Stone. And you got to walk backwards. You know what I mean? My grandpa, he told my brother, he's like, kiss the Blarney Stone when you go to Ireland and walk backwards.
Have you seen pictures of that thing? It's kind of gross.
Yeah, I've never been there. My brother's been there, but I have. Yeah,
I bet it's got a lot of fucking skin cells on it.
Probably from a lot of tourists just going around kissing on it.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine they've been doing that for a long time, and somebody's got to wash it, though, right? Like, it doesn't have the Black Plague seal on it, like somewhere in a layer somewhere.
It's divinely protected. Well, that's what we'll just say. It's divine.
It's divinely
Our
protected.
inner mystic minds can land on a belief. We can lay it on this little fun belief, even if it's a belief. We'll just land there.
I've just seen pictures of it. It looks kind of gross.
Well, now when we get off this podcast, I need to research current pictures of the Blarney Stone.
Right, for sure. So, fuck. My brain is just mashed potatoes right now because I've been in the middle of, coordinating Cosmic Connection.
Yeah.
I'm also booking Dance Festopia right now too.
Beautiful.
So I've got a lot of artists that I'm reaching out to, and you came over and I was like, oh man, I should have stopped working because my brain is not firing on all cylinders. Should have got a cup of coffee.
But every cylinder is the right cylinder.
It is.
Don't trip to
I'm just having a couple misfires.
That's
all right.
Well, let me help you mash the potatoes up then.
Let's mash them.
I guess the other good thing that I really have been learning in the last year of communal living, and that's the other thing too, is like Milo Farm, and like as you're creating community and you're creating like safe structures and processes, and we also do like what's called the woofing program. So where people are traveling through, this started off in Europe and it's done by a lot of farms and different community gardens, where people are traveling through, they can pretty much send an application in to work for stay on these different farms. So we've had people from France, Mexico, I mean people from all over, and it's been really beautiful to see like one, every time someone brings diversity of beauty, you know, and like different elements of like modalities. But just being in communal living is interesting because it's, you know, you live in an American structure and where everything is essentially neighborhoods.
Right.
You know, you got your block, I got my yard, you got your yard. And we're thousands of communities, all even within one neighborhood, just communities of one family units.
Right.
And I think that it is interesting as society continues to unravel and we start to see that the American dream isn't working, in my opinion, you know, personally, and that, you know, we can go into those wormholes, but essentially, I think that people are waking up to the reality that they're tired of subsurface connection.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what like Milo Farm and a lot of different intentional communities around, even the KC area, you know, there's lots of intentional communities that are trying to bring about that connection.
Yeah.
And that's showing up in radical honesty, just like this conversation, man.
Absolutely. No, that's awesome. So the term you said was woofing, and I had never heard that term until I came out to Milo Farms, and you said something, and Laura kind of laughed. She's like, "You don't know what woofing is?" I'm like, "The fuck do I look like a farmer?" No. So tell for people who don't know what woofing is. That's WOOF, like
ING.
Is that an acronym too? Working on
if
a
it
farm?
is, I don't know,
bro. It's working on that'd be wowfing. Working on a farm. I thought it was
close. Maybe.
There's that cylinder misfiring. Wowfing.
Yeah, wowfing.
So what is woofing?
So we'll get to the point. Woofing, it's a way for people to be able to travel and not have to spend money on hostels, hotels. They can actually be able to live in a state or a space for longer than a week or two because they can work around 10 to 20 hours, depends on their deal or whatever they work out with each farm. It's every farm is individual and different, but there's a standard where you have to have like running water, electricity, amenities, certain things that to be on the woofing program, you have, the program, we have to, as the container, have these things in order. And then for the people to come, they can sign like anywhere between a 2 week or we've had woofers stay for 3 days, 2 days, it just depends on who's traveling through and what they're looking for. And if it's a good fit, then we've had woofers come and stay for a year.
That's cool.
But that was, rare cases. But that's also like rare cases of like people like showing up and working really hard and just kind of having that resonance with community. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, this just feels like a good fit,
Right.
There's still good people that, they traveled on, but they always, say they want to come back. So,
that's awesome. So you said people from all over the world, basically.
Yeah, we've had people from France and a couple other countries too. Yeah.
So are these woofers are they normally flow people too, or are they just farm people? Or
some of them have turned into flow people after hanging out with me.
Nice.
And other people I've met have come through, and they're like. I've met people who are artists, musicians, bikers, going to big bike rallies. It's really a kaleidoscope of different, people and experiences, which has been beautiful. And that's also why it's important to have cohesive share circling, in my opinion, because whenever there is conflict, because the truth of communal living, nothing's perfect.
No.
Humanity is not perfect. And I can tell you, where there's perfect place. No. And we are an intentional place.
Right.
And that is where I can get behind, because even as I recognize the healing for myself, it's how can I hold the healing of others and recognize that no one's perfect, but we're all trying.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. I'm sorry, man. I keep yawning. It's
No,
not
man.
because you're boring. I promise you.
Hey, man, I get it. I have that effect. Either I
No,
put
no,
people
no.
to sleep or they're running. I get it.
No, I didn't sleep very good last night, so I'm like, ugh.
That's all right. I had to drive a buddy to the airport at 4 this morning, so I'm also on like 4 hours of sleep.
Right.
So
You should have made a pot of coffee.
all right, guys. Intermission. We're getting pots of coffee.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm down to just pause this and
Yeah.
go make some coffee, sip it, smoke a cigarette, get our bearings about us,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
come back to it. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'm about it.
Holy shit! I needed that coffee.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for pausing. This is the first time I've had to pause during a podcast, and like, I almost feel bad because like I'm usually on it and I'm thinking better and like my brain's firing, but like today, like we said, but.
Don't feel bad, man. I appreciate being your first.
Cheers! This black coffee is delicious. We got this mushroom coffee. I've always heard that like the lion's mane mushrooms and like all those ones, the cordyceps have been like good for you and everything. And like I'm not a hippie.
Yeah.
Just so everybody is very clear, I'm not. Like I started out as a punk rock skater kid.
Yeah, nice.
And then I went into like the metal scene and I was the guy that was like stirring up the pits and shit,
Yeah.
And then I got out of that, got into the flow scene, started hanging out with all the hippies, but I'm still punk rock as fuck, So like there's a part of me that's like, oh, you're a mumbo jumbo hippie bullshit, and then like I started like reading it and like the lion's mane's mushrooms really good for your brain, cordyceps are good for your digestion. I might be saying these things wrong because I don't know and I'm not a professional at them, but then we got sponsored by this place called Rebirth Superfoods. They're based out of Springfield, and they sent us like a little sample pack to try it, so they're sponsoring Cosmic Connection this year.
Nice.
They're a wellness sponsor.
Beautiful.
And so every day I've been taking a teaspoon of this powder. It's like so much shit just packed into it, and like I'll drink water, they say put it in tea. I'm not a tea drinker, so I just put it in water, stir it up, down it, like I chug it, and it tastes like the earth, and like I swear to God, it makes me feel a million times better, and
Really?
I feel like I'm losing weight, and I feel like I'm firing on all cylinders. It's really great.
No, I love that, man.
Yeah, so
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of science behind the woo-woo.
There is, dude, there is, but like even still, like we were at a metaphysical convention a couple months ago. It was during the winter.
Oh, this is going to be a fun story. I'm excited.
So we're going through and we're like looking at all the booths, right? And we get to this booth that has like singing bowls and like all the hippie stuff like that, you know, and which obviously singing bowls are great. We are vibration. You get in a sound bath. It's amazing. I witnessed it firsthand. But so I'm looking at this other booth. Laura's over at this singing bowl booth, like playing the singing bowl. She's like, this because we're thinking about buying a singing bowl, right?
Nice.
We're at a metaphysical show.
Yeah.
And this lady walks up from the other side of the room, walks up and she says, can you please stop playing those? I am trying to have a clairvoyant experience and I can't even concentrate. And I turned around and I was like, yeah, we can't be doing any metaphysical shit at this metaphysical fair, right? Am I right? And she's like, what? I'm like, come on, dude. Like, we got to try it. And she's like, well, I can't even concentrate. I'm like, and then after she walked away, I was like, well, if you were really clairvoyant, you would have fucking knew that she was going to play the bowl in the first place. You could have just paused.
You could have foreseen the future.
Right.
Why did you not transcend faster and prevent this beautiful soul from touching this bowl?
Right.
No.
But there is some of those aspects, just like I went and talked about like people who say that they're shamans, like white people. They're like, I'm a shaman, I'm like, okay. I think you probably just tell that to girls that you want to get in their pants, like.
Unfortunately, that is prevalent.
I've seen it a lot. And I see people that say that they're clairvoyant and they're doing all this stuff, but I've also seen the opposite side of it, where you got people doing
the shadow, the ego,
it is.
Yeah, it's pretty icky, and it's capitalism 3D printed.
It's ridiculous,
in many ways.
Bro. Straight up, dude.
Yeah,
So.
And I think that just to touch on that, if you don't mind, I think in my mind is like any modality, anytime you go to a church, a synagogue, a Buddhist monk temple, whatever you find, or that singing bowl, or a tarot card reading, or even just sitting in your backyard and looking at that tree and saying, what is this and who am I? Mm-hmm. Whatever any of those things are, those are all, I think, tools to get in touch with ourselves. And we're trying to get in touch with God. And then as we get in touch with God, we get a little more in touch with ourselves. And we get a little more in touch with ourselves, we get a little more in touch with God.
Right.
So it goes back to our conversation earlier.
Yeah. Did you get that from The Course in Miracles? Have you ever heard of that book?
I have heard of that book, but I have yet to read it.
That book is fucking life-changing. And it's a really heavily Christian-based book.
Yeah.
And at first I had my doubts because it's, very,
Christian-based.
very, very heavily Christian-based.
Yeah.
But
Explains why I probably didn't read it. No, just
right. Well, so my mom, like I said, I was born and raised a Christian Scientist, and that sect strictly believes that God heals all and modern medicine does not. So like I grew up without any immunizations, any like medicine. If I was
vaccines,
sick,
I didn't get vaccinated.
nothing. Yeah.
Same. I grew
anytime,
up.
anytime I was sick, I didn't have medicine. My mom just prayed, which as I got older, I realized that that's manifestation in its purest form. Like when I rarely get sick, but I've always have this mentality that I'm healthy, and it could be bullshit. I don't know. I've also heard that people have tattoos have a better immune system because they've been accosted on their skin so much that they've built immunities. So that could be it. But anyway, so the Course in Miracles, it basically starts you off reprogramming your brain and saying like throughout your day to day, everything you look at, say, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Look at a tree. I don't know what this is. Look at grass. I don't know what this is. The next day you say, what am I labeling this as, and it keeps going on and on and on for you to reprogram your brain to not have a perception like everybody else that taught you, because we are perceptual beings from our parents. No matter what you think, we are our parents and perceptual, right? And you can unlearn that, and that book alone is a huge way to do that if you can get over the the Christianity aspect of it.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's once again, it touches that note where it says in the Bible that Jesus spoke to a donkey, right? Yep. So it's like the running joke of like, God can use an ass, right? For anything, right, So when people are like this, it's a good truth, but it comes from this. And I'm like, yeah, truth comes from from shadow and darkness too. Right. I mean, it's both. And I think just as you look at a tree, you see how big the tree is. We're not even considering how that tree is the same size that in the shadows and the darkness. No. And so when someone says, oh, this perfect person, well, just as somebody is great, we can also accept that they also have the ability. Doesn't mean that they're operating in that way. It means that maybe they're not resonating. They're actually holding that integrity of whatnot. But in reality is they have that same ability to go just as dark as their conscious awareness swings both ways. It's
kind of like what we were talking about outside during our break. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness, or if war coming looking for me, then I'm all right.
Here we are.
Let's go. But
until then, we can sit in the backyard and make our garden and curate our peace. And until someone jumps over our fence and threatens that peace, I've had this conversation recently, just like, what does it mean to be safe? Right? What does it mean for Caleb to be safe? Yeah. And what does that look like? And I'm like, as I ask those deeper questions, just like the tree, strip yourself from those labels, right? What does Caleb want?
Right.
And how do I truly be safe with my integrity outside of that and within that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Hell yeah. So I guess one thing that we didn't touch on is what I'm curious about is what kind of work did you do between prison and getting involved with Milo? Did you do any like labor, like trade work, or like what kind of jobs did you have?
Well, most of my life I have been a salesman. Granted, the young when I was a hooligan, that wasn't a skill that I utilized for the best of causes.
Right. You sold some stuff.
Sold some stuff. You know what I mean? But I was that guy who opened his jacket and was like had a bunch of little watches. Like, hey, you want to watch? You
want to watch this?
Yeah, you forget about it. I got you. That was me in my little young foolish days. No. And when I got out, I started working with my brother-in-law and pretty much is working at a video game store, man. That's what I did for a couple of years, but really took my money and really invested and just kind of I've always been good with that. So to me, it's always like buy, sell, and trade, eBay, finding different alternative ways to making money, but doing it legally. has been the biggest cause of my mission this
Right.
this since coming home. But honestly, I just quit my job, and I quit my job this last January because I'm pursuing what lights my soul on fire. Because I've always done that my whole life. Even when I was younger, I've always worked hard. I've between grunt work, landscaping. I've done construction work. I'm not saying I'm a good builder, absolutely not. But I've dug the trenches. You know what
built
I mean?
some shit.
Yeah, I've worked. That's the best way to describe it.
Nice.
And but I think that, and then also just always been I've always been an entrepreneurial at heart. Even when I was young, I've always tried to utilize my money to make money, and even legally and unfortunately when I was younger, illegally.
Right.
Now, fast
like
forward, I quit my job this last January because I've been kind of right back into that journey of like going back into self, figuring out what is it that Caleb truly desires and wants, and how do I truly alchemize that. And so I've been, as I seek God, I'm also seeking self, and that's why I've also just started my LLC and what I've coined as Wistic Flow Arts. And it's a mixture between a wizard and a mystic.
Nice.
So it's really fun talking about, I like to think that this whole conversation is what I like to call a wistic conversation, where a buddy of mine, CJ, we call him Yoda, and he was like this little yogi Zen little guy I was best friends with. And we would sit on the back deck sometimes at Milo, and we would just drink a cup of coffee, and we would talk about God, philosophy, theology. What is this? What's our hearts? What's our intentions with our journey? And then one day we were talking about the difference between a wizard and a mystic. And then I'm like, bro, we just had a wistic conversation. And then it just coined. And then after a year of performing and spinning fire, people are like, what's your performer name? And I'm like, I don't know, bro. I have lots of names. I'm not attached. My name's Caleb, bro.
Right.
I don't have an attachment until one day I was getting booked for an actual gig, and they're like, what's your performer name? And I was like, oh, well, shit, I actually probably should have something. And so I just said Wistic, and then boom, that's what it started. So
Wiz or Wiz? Wiztic?
Wistic, so it's Wiztic.
Nice.
Wistic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, Wistic Flow Arts.
I fucking love that.
Yeah, I'm in the ground base right now of building my landing page and website.
Okay.
So, yeah, man.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. So did you take my advice whenever we spoke after the festival last year, where you were like, I want to get involved more and like get some videos, get some applications out to different places? And, because a lot of people tell me that, they're like, how do I get involved in this? I'm like, well, with us, like first things first is you need to volunteer with us.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just hire anybody to pay
outside
because
sources,
let's just be honest, my job is a cat herder at the end of the day, and especially with a whole bunch of hippies that have been doing a bunch of psychedelics, like
and running around.
Right. They're like, oh yeah, bro, I got you. And they usually just stop and stand and talk for a while. I'm like, we're building a festival. We're tearing a festival down. I don't need you just talking.
I need you working.
We need to work. I get it. Like
we played yesterday, but we're gonna play tomorrow. But today we're working.
I'm not whipping anybody. I'm not a hard ass. I'm from what people have told me, I'm a really good person to work for because I explain things down to the details. But like, to do these things, you gotta volunteer, right? You gotta like put in the time, show me that you are able to do that. Same with the flow arts. Whenever we have events and you want to do it, like, cool, man, come out, help me build shit. You can light your props on fire, show me what you got. And then once that goes and I see, okay, he's not burning himself. He's not putting other people in danger. He knows how to put props out. I don't have to train him. I don't have to do the cat herding part with it. That's the best part.
Absolutely.
But until that happens, you have to show people with the application process and show videos and all that. So I was just wondering if you have applied to any other places, like any other events this year at all, or...
Well, this year, to be honest, I have taken your advice. I, started the landing page, and I've already booked some gigs.
Nice.
Honestly, it's funny because people have asked me, like, hey, have you sent in applications? Are you doing a lot? And I'm like, honestly, I've been really content to just take my time and be slow because I'm really building a lot of foundation work, because also doing a lot with Milo Farms, the nonprofit. So to me, it's like a mycelium network that I'm kind of building. And the flow arts is it's already snowballing for myself personally, to where like people have come to me just throughout community and say, hey, can you do this event or do this? So this summer is already pretty full. Like
yeah.
I'm like already booked and doing a lot with my personal projects and flow arts projects and then community projects. So
Nice.
I feel like it's a lot already, and I'm excited to do more because as this foundation work continues to unfold, I know I'm going to have more space to start actually sending out, send out applications and doing more of that if I need to. But right now I feel like it's organically kind of like you said, the Dow. It does nothing and leaves nothing undone. I'm just doing the next best work every day, like work a little bit on my business every day, work a little bit on my body, work on a little bit on my mind, work a little bit for the community.
Yeah.
And I just kind of touch everything and take one, as long as I'm taking one little baby step forward every day, I feel like I'm on the right path.
Oh, that's fucking awesome, man. So in the flow world, you and I both know how much it affects us, and just like the greatest ways, all the way down to the small little details of our lives. From it translates from spinning poi to just daily routines.
Yeah.
You got to get in that sense. Have you ever encountered somebody? Well, I guess you have, because people that you turned on to flow. But like, how would you go about telling somebody that has no idea what flow arts does to them if they were just a 9-to-5er, that just works jobs, and they see you and they're like, whoa, why do you do that? Why do you do the flow arts?
Yeah. I think it's both. And, I was talking to a friend recently, and they're like, a part of me wants to get into flow, and part of me wants to do these different things, and they liked Lyra, and they were talking to me about it, and they're like, but a part of me is like, do I just want to do this because I want to be cool? Is it all for my ego? Is it all for this or that? And, as our minds kind of rationalize why we do what we do, I think for me, it's more of like, what do I enjoy? What do I do when I'm having a hard day? What do I do when I'm having a great day?
Right.
And for me, I find myself picking up my poi.
Yeah.
If I'm sad and I'm really going through it, sometimes for me, processing and meditating, it's a flow state in my mind is a way of us connecting back to source. Mm-hmm. And it's when we're doing something that really can really unplug our brain, but plug it in the best way that fulfills our cup.
Yeah.
And that's what flow state is to me. When you're playing the piano and you hear that Beethoven or whatever, instrumental music, and you feel that, wow, like that resonance of like flow state to where you feel like you can do things, and you feel like, oh, I'm like seeing clearly in this, and this in my life. Yet you're not doing your body is doing a motion, but you're not really thinking about doing the motion because you just become that. No. That's what flow state is to me. Mm-hmm. So if I was to talk to somebody who never, they're like, hey, that's cool. How would I get into that? I would say, well, what do you enjoy doing?
Right.
What do you like? What is your flow? You're a musician? Beautiful. Have you ever thought about playing a song and then recording yourself and then dancing to your own music?
Yeah.
And then how do you express your own music through conventional somatic dance or flow? Right. You're picking up a prop that it becomes an extension of your body, which the best flow prop artists in my mind are the ones who are one with their prop to where it's not just a trick, it's just a seamless dance that they're just expressing without thinking about. That's my favorite kind of flow artist, one who doesn't have the 10 tricks, the one who has maybe 10 tricks but just adds them all into a little weird dance and does his own flow and has his own little way of having, everyone can do the same 5 tricks. We've all seen, this dude does a butterfly. We all know what a butterfly is.
Right.
Okay. But then you see people who are dancing and they're doing the butterfly, and it creates a whole different expression of the same thing. Yeah. And that to me is the same thing with religion and everything.
It is.
It's just an expression of the same thing, man.
Right. That's a beautiful explanation. So like, did you have anything when you were younger besides, doing bad shit that was that you can reflect upon now as an adult and say what I was doing was basically like a flow art?
Dude, it's crazy you say that. That's really funny because I have a lightsaber in the back of my car.
Fuck yeah.
That my brother just gave me. And he was like, hey, you used to love lightsabers. Because when I was a kid, I used to think I was a Jedi master. And when I was a little kid, I just kind of grew up on a farm where I just kind of like, okay, if I'm not doing work, then I'm running around with a stick. And so when I was a kid, I always loved Star Wars. So I would just be a little Jedi, and I would just literally run out in the fields, and I would fight Sith and all the stormtroopers. And I thought I was a little Ewok at a point where my mom eventually was like, she had to tell me to stop watching Star Wars because she would take me to church or somewhere, and I would meet some pastor or somebody and be like, hi. And I'm like, Gunga Minga Minga. And I started talking like, dude, I started talking like a little feral Ewok. And then my mom's like, okay, no more Star Wars. And I'm like, oh no.
That's
But and then she came back when I was like, okay, I promise not to talk like an Ewok anymore, Mom.
Dude, that's awesome. I fucking love Star Wars.
Yeah, so lightsabers, bro. That was
Yeah.
me and all my little friends. We had, we had all the lightsabers, and we would fight my brother and all his older friends, and they all had the red lightsabers, and we just got our asses whooped every day.
Yeah, nice.
But we would play and just play the sword fighting. So it's funny because I picked up a fire sword with their acrylic ball at the end, and the homie's like, "Oh, a sword is like, you probably, you're gonna love this." And he just put it in my hand. I was like, oh, I've had one of these since I was a kid. I know what I'm doing.
Like,
yeah, I'm like, okay, my inner Obi-Wan is here.
right. Fuck yeah, dude.
Shamanic channeling Obi-Wan. Here we go.
So I'm trying to see something. Did you ever skateboard?
No, actually, I've never skateboarded.
Okay. There goes my theory.
Yeah. No, oh, damn. Did I break the theory?
No. Jordan and I were talking about like how you get into living a zealous life, and I was like, I'm pretty sure skateboarding is one of them because
that's fair.
like. That's what I did. I skateboarded, and like that's how I translated poi into. Because like once you learn to kickflip, then what are you gonna like do a flip fake you out, So poi, like I learned a 3-beat weave, and I was like, okay, I wonder if I could do a 3-beat weave into a butterfly, into a behind the back, and then like isolations, and so that's kind of how I do it. So I learned today that not all skateboarders turn into poi artists.
See, I hate to be the exception. Damn
no,
I'm
it's
always
totally
doing
fine.
that.
See, I'm a seeker. I want to know like how people like us get into this.
Yeah,
that's why I started this. Cause,
a lightsaber, I guess, is a good correlation point for me. But
fuck yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think finding those little props like a skateboard, man, that is a flow prop, and I imagine that's flow state.
It is
when you're
for
really
sure.
doing the thing and you're really connected to that board and you're moving. I personally am just a coward. I'm already bad with balance. I ain't doing all that.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was a flow state when I was younger. Like there wasn't really any fire artists or anything where I lived. I never saw anything like what I do until I went to Hawaii when I was 16. I saw people spinning fire. I was like, whoa, that's a thing. That's fucking cool. But this was also back in the 90s. We didn't have, the internet to go look online to see what people are doing. We had fucking Encyclopedia Britannicas. So like, I was just completely ignorant.
Being an old school flow scene too, you guys probably made your own props and everything stuff too.
Well, I didn't get into flow until let's see, it was like 2011, 2010 around then. So, and even then there wasn't a lot of people in the flow scene. Like I lived in Amarillo, Texas, me and my homie Ian, and we just did the glow sticking stuff, and we were like, fuck, I want to do this with fire. So we just went and made the most raggedy, haggard, unsafe props you could ever possibly make with
not
cotton
recommended.
Definitely don't do that. And then once we did that, we're like, holy shit. And then immediately we found out that there was a fire troop in Amarillo, and they're like, yeah, you could buy those things. Like you can buy the things, you can make it safer. And so we learned from them. Yeah. But nice. Then I moved back to St. Joe, Missouri, and I started my own fire group up there. And then it kind of spread, and it's cool watching the scene get bigger and bigger and bigger. Of course that has its issues too, but we're here just having a good,
I'm curious what your thoughts about like the scene, the flow scene. Do you feel like it's really expanding and blowing up, man?
Since I started, it's insane. Because we started Pyro Tribe in St. Joe. It was like 2012, so no, it was like 2009, 8-ish that I started doing it. And then 2012 is when we started Pyro Tribe. And then since then, that's 14 years ago now, it is just blown up. Like there's people that I've known in St. Joe that didn't spin fire before. Now they're getting a hold of me and they're saying they're multidisciplinary. They're doing all these props or breathing fire. And they're like, it's all because of what you showed everybody in this town, and like, I'm not going to be the one that says that I started it because obviously I didn't fucking start it in Kansas City area, but
I think it's inviters though, invitations.
It is.
Like people
see it and they're like, whoa, that's awesome. I want to do that. And then so our job as people who have been doing it is to show people how to do it safely and correctly to where they're not putting themselves in danger and others in danger.
I'm really grateful for the KC fire scene for that.
Yeah.
Because, I was fresh, new, didn't know what I was doing, but, I got taken under the wings by a lot of beautiful people who were like, hey, Don't wear polyester, bro.
Right. Do you want it melted to your skin?
Yeah.
No. You're like, oh fuck, I didn't
Don't
know.
do that.
You know? Yeah. So, but yeah, watching the KC scene is amazing, and I've been to a lot of cities and I've seen a lot of scenes, and what I've seen is like a lot of gatekeeping and a lot of like toxicity in the flow scene, which is kind of silly to me because like
It's supposed to be inclusivity.
right, they'll be like, well, that guy can't even do a fucking 5-beat weave, like, bro, like, dude, come on, man, like, we're all on a journey, you know, man. And like putting people down for what they're doing or lack of doing is not the way. Like, we need to encourage people to do it.
That's the maybe American way or the capitalistic way,
but it's not my art. It's not your art. It's an art, and everybody is able to do it, you know, and and there's no reason for us to tell people that they suck because we all sucked at one point, you know. So facts. KC scene's awesome. I love it. There's a lot of really cool people, and I've got them on my list of people to interview too. So we're going to be talking to those people in the near future.
It's funny, you hang out with a bunch of burners, man. You'll just see a collective of amazing like fractals of stories and experiences, and that's what I love about humanity, honestly. And humanity's broken and sucks, you know, I'm sure. But it's nice though, like to really see the mirror's reflection in all the different beautiful souls and seeing that it's all meant for a reason.
Humanity is pretty fucked, but it's not as fucked as whenever people had swords and they were like torturing people and cutting their body parts off.
Right, like convert or die.
It's been way worse. You know?
Yeah.
I would say today is it's got its challenges, you know, and it's hard, you know, but one of my favorite quotes is a Voltaire thing. One of Voltaire's students told him, you know, life is hard, and Voltaire replied, compared to what? So I always try to think about that whenever I'm like, this is hard. Well, what are you comparing it to? Like, I compare it in my own life to things, you know, like when I used to be underneath a garbage truck changing out a fucking hydraulic pump, you know, that was 200 pounds, and like there's oil dripping on me, there's maggots falling on my face, there's trash juice hitting me, and then like I'll be at the festival and I'll be called all these different ways, you know, it's very stressful and it's very difficult to do. But then I'll have to stop and pause and be like, compared to what? I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not underneath a garbage truck right now. I don't have my maggots hitting me in the fucking head, you know? So like, hey, this is great.
Yeah. I get that. Well, it kind of reminds me of a funny story. I was once with a bunch of hippies, and they're all going on. We all got on a little, you know, riff about, man, imagine the old days. Our ancestors their whole job was just to collect berries and doing all this stuff. And it was like a blizzard that night. No. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. I was like, but isn't it pretty cool that like we could be like 2 a.m. and we can smoke a joint and go pop in a hot pocket and not have to go up
100%
off into the into the winter storm and try to like hunt for like a little hare or something? No, like that sucks. Let's go to Price Chopper, guys.
I like my air conditioning. I like my heating. I like my water. I like all the modern things.
And no matter how much I go off grid, I recognize it's that story of like even in the Matrix. Breaking free from the Matrix is still a part of the program of the Matrix.
Yeah, 100%. So you just gotta live it, and you gotta appreciate what you have when you don't have it. You know, cool. Well, we got a couple more minutes left, and I just want to know if you have any questions for me. I know I've been grilling you. We can go as long as you want. Our hour is almost up, but I'm not hard cutting this. If you want to ask me something,
the one question I would ask is, first I want to just say appreciate you and appreciate Cosmic Connection and Laura and all the beautiful souls that make up your guys' entity, and really for the impact that you guys are making. And I'm really excited for the dialogue to continue. And I'm really I know like Milo Farms is really excited for just this next season, you know what I mean? And I'm really looking forward to the Kansas City community. I guess the question I would ask you is, moving the next 3 to 4 years, what would like, if there's a piece or something that like an offering or something that you kind of been sitting with, is there something that like you like Cosmic Connection to offer? Or is there like anything like, what would you see that being like an impact? Or is there anything like that in the next 3 to 5 years that like you would like to see manifest through this?
I mean, so the festivals that we're doing already has a very special intention behind it, right? So we curate these things to make sure that when people come to the festival, they learn more about life and about different things that they didn't know beforehand, and then they leave a better person, you know? I've sat at many festivals. We go to a lot of them, and I watch these people come in, rage their ass off, leave, get into wrecks, go into the world with worse than they came in. And that's 100% not what we want to do, because and it doesn't make a lot of money. Honestly, I don't make hardly shit. A lot of people are like, ticket prices, that's greedy, blah, blah, they're just money grabbing. I'm like, honestly, we don't make a lot of money.
Right.
Like if we
at
wanted
the
to make
end of the day, when you consider all the time, energy,
100%.
everything,
Oh yeah. And if we wanted to make money, we would just do an all EDM festival with 0 workshops, and we would just do the ticket prices a little higher, and we'd make a bag. We'd make so much fucking money, but that's not our intention.
Right.
So in the next 3 to 5 years, what we're trying to do is we'd like to have like a community space in the Kansas City area that we can step away from traveling so much and like make more of a sow the seeds here, and eventually, if that works out, then maybe make hubs in other parts of the country,
Love that.
We just have to find the right spot to build in and make what we want. We don't want to just like get a building and like have just a venue or just a workshop area. We want the whole thing.
You want to curate it to be exactly what that intention can provide. That offering. Yeah. That home base. Like that.
It's been manifesting for a few years, and I have full faith that it's going to happen, because every day I wake up and I think, this is what we want. This is what we want to move towards, because staying intense at festivals is getting kind of old, man. I'm 43, Laura's 44, I'm almost 44 years old myself. And like we're midlife right now, and it gets harder and harder.
Pictures.
Yeah, it gets harder and harder to go and do that. You know, I mean, last year every 2 weeks we had a gig, and we were on the road from April to October. So it's like, we got kids, we got all the things that we got to do, and we're really hoping that pans out. And and it's going to take a lot of community members, and people are going to come through and make it happen. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really exciting. I actually really resonate with everything you just said, you know, because I know that, one, Kansas City needs that. Yeah. Kansas City does need a hub where people can bring all the different arts and modalities. And I feel like the Kansas City community really could rally behind something and create something and support an intention like that. So I think that's really potent. And then also the wellness aspect. That's a big part of my draw to Milo Farm and what we do out there. So I also resonate with that because, life's too short, man, for just getting, fucked up on drugs and partying. And there's more to life. Yeah, there's more to life. There's more. And I find it in these kind of conversations and within this kind of community. And I do see that could be honestly, a beautiful experience. Yeah. Like that's not something I've experienced really growing up in this world where a community generally wants to co-create something without a religious dogma or a political agenda. Yeah. Like these subsurface archetypes of like football games, like, all that's beautiful. No judgment to anyone. And what I personally desire is like that community where it's chosen family, where we're building our individual dreams and collaboratively supporting one another's.
Right, exactly. That's what it is. It's not a business that we want to just get super rich off of at all, because the monetary gain is nothing compared to the spiritual game and watching people and having them tell you later, like, you changed me, like you changed, I was this way and you changed me and now I'm this way, and thank you. It's sowing those seeds, planting the seeds, watching them grow. So that's what we're trying to do. That's what I've always tried to do. So ever since I was younger, I just want to help people, because life is hard enough as it is if we're doing it all by ourselves. So so
well, I think you just kind of touched it earlier too, like, when you brought the flow scene and you kind of brought that part with you to St. Joe and you were kind of implementing that. I think that's what I love about, like, when someone says, "Oh, these people are leaders," or "This person's a leader," and I like to think of that person as an inviter. They lead themselves, and then they bring their own self forth, and then they're like, "Hey," and then that gives other people the permission to go, "Oh, hey, that's really cool. Right. That dude's cool. He's doing it. Yeah. maybe I can do that too. And then boom, next you know, we're all doing the thing.
We're all doing it. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. This has been really fun. I've gotten to know you a little bit more, and I'm really looking forward to working with you some more. So,
same, man.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the invitation and the time and all the really good questions and the good yawns. And every pause isn't perfect. You know,
Them
it's all
fucking
meant to
yawns,
be.
man. I'm not yawning now. I'm pinging.
Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. See, we got that mushroom coffee
That
going.
coffee's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Right on, brother. All right, we're going to end this episode of The Zealous Soul. Thank you again, Caleb Chrisman.
Yeah,
and
man,
we will catch you at the next episode. So
Absolutely.
you guys take care. Oh yeah, by the way, this episode and all episodes are sponsored by ReKinection, if you didn't know that. But
And if you haven't gotten your ticket, get it soon. Cosmic Connection coming up.
yeah, they're increasing. But by the time this is released, they're already going to be increased.
Okay, in that case, yes.
Get them. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Adios.
Sicker than your average.